Thank you, Danny. Okay, this is lesson 1.3, overtime income. So we're going to talk about it again. Overtime is the extra payment for hours that exceed 8 hours per day. So if you are not told, this is what you go by: 8 hours per day or 40 hours per week. Now, that 40 hours, you could work 4 10-hour days, and that gives you your 40 hours. Now, that would be your common rate of pay is 1.5 times the original, or, as we talked about in lesson 2, or the shift premium. But shift premium is different. So, when we talk about time and a half, we multiply by 1.5. So we take our regular pay and we times it by 1.5. So there's two different types. So 1.5 times your regular wage, or your regular wage plus the shift premium. And both of those are going to give you your overtime wage, your overtime rate of pay. So your overtime wage. Okay, so your wage is your rate of pay. So we're going to write that down as well. Wage is your rate of pay. So how you get paid. So do you make $10 an hour, $5 an hour? That's what they're talking about, your wage. So if we work overtime, there's two ways to calculate it. If they say you've got a shift premium, you're adding it to your regular to get your overtime wage. And if it tells you earn 1.5 times more, you literally times it by the regular wage, and that becomes your new overtime wage. So we've got a handy dandy chart here in example 1, and we are going to label the chart, each column, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. And now we're going to put a couple little cheats in the boxes for us. So if it doesn't tell us, this is for one day, okay? So this is based off one work day. So if it's one day and he worked 10 hours, out of those 10 hours, how much would be his regular hours? 8 hours, good. So to find his overtime hours, I'm going to take A, subtract B. That means he worked 2 hours overtime. Okay, that's his overtime hours. All right, now in order to find out how much he makes for his regular wage, we're going to take our hours and times it by the rate of pay. So we're going to take B times C. Okay, so make sure you're writing those little cheats in there, because remember, you do get open book time on your quizzes and tests. So if you're not writing all these little things in there, you're going to forget how to do them. All right, so B times C. So we're going to take 8 times $8.50, and that's going to give us $68 exactly. All right, taking a look now at the overtime rate of pay. Well, this time it tells us time and a half, just like it did up there. So that means I need to take 1.5 times the regular wage. So to get this guy, I'm going to go the letter C times 1.5. So I'm taking this number right here, 850, and I'm multiplying it by 1.5. So 850 times 1.5 is what I'm doing. And the overtime rate of pay is $12.75 per hour. Make sure you round to 2 decimal places, because that's your pennies. Okay, that's your dollars and pennies. All right, now your overtime rate of pay, that's going to be multiplying your overtime hours by the overtime rate of pay. So that's going to be your E times F. And that's going to give you $25.50. Your total gross pay is going to be D plus G. So I'm going to take both of those and add them, and that's going to give me my grand total. So that's going to give me a grand total of $93.50. So at the end of that 10-hour day, they earned $93.50. Okay, any questions about that? Make sure you've got all those labels in there for you. Okay, because that's going to help you figure out your questions when you get an exact question like that. They're just going to change the numbers. Okay. All right, we're going to move it up to example 2. So example 2 is the exact same thing, only it's not a chart. It says figure it out on your own without a chart. So I'm going to show you how to do it without a chart. Some people like to do it without. If you want to do a chart, you can do exactly what that is and continue with the chart. I'm doing this one without it. So we've got Chelsea. We need her regular pay plus her OT, overtime pay. And that equals her total gross income. Okay, so her total gross income of what she would have on her paycheck. So her regular pay, it says she works 13.5 hours on Saturday. She gets paid $9.86 regularly per hour, and she earns time. Whoa, that zoomed right in. Hang on. Let's fix that. I got to pause. Hang on. Okay, continuing on. So her regular pay is $9.86. We got to times that by her regular pay. So in one day, the regular pay would be how many hours? 8. Perfect. So we're going to figure out her regular pay, and that's going to give us $78.88. So that's what she makes on her normal 8 hours. But she worked longer than 8 hours. So I need to take my 13.5 and subtract 8 hours. And that's going to tell me how many overtime hours she worked. So she worked 5.5 overtime hours. So that's 5.5 OT hours. Okay, so we know that we're multiplying by 5.5 hours. Okay, so it's always money times the hours. Now we need to know how much she's actually getting paid for overtime. So it says time and a half for overtime. So what do I have to do to find her overtime? Am I going to just take $9.86 and am I going to add $1.50? Is that what time and a half means? No. What does time and a half mean?
The time and then a half.
You're going to multiply it by 1.5. So I'm going to take over here my $9.86 and I'm going to times it. Whoa, it's glitching again. 86 times 1.5. And that's going to give me how much her overtime wage is. So this is going to be her OT wage, meaning how much she gets paid in overtime. So that's going to become $14.79. So that's her overtime wage, how much she gets paid per hour. So now I'm going to take 14.79 times my 5.5 hours. And that's going to give $81.35. So in this case, she made more money overtime than she did for her regular pay. And that happens sometimes. Now to get our total gross, the rule is add those and you get your total gross income. So we're going to add those up. And we get Chelsea is going to get paid $160.23. Okay, now this would be a 2.5 to 3 mark question. You would get a mark or a half mark for finding out your overtime rate of pay, which is the number you need to put here in order to multiply to get your overtime pay. Then you take your 8 hours times your regular pay. So that would be 2 marks there. You only get a half mark for the answer because your other half mark is coming from doing this. Okay, so that's a typical 2.5 to 3 mark question. All right, the next one is going to be done very similarly, only this time they're telling us very specific. They're not getting a shift premium and they're not making time and a half. This one says they're making double time. So instead of timesing by 1.5, what would I multiply by if it says double time?
Double 2.
2, exactly. So this means the overtime is times 2. That's what that means. Okay, so we're going to do exactly what we did on the question above. We're going to figure out the regular pay plus the overtime pay to equal the gross. Okay, so our regular wage is $24.80. So $24.80. Oh, we're trying. Okay, so we're making $24.80 times we worked 40 hours regular. Okay, because we worked a full week. Well, if they worked a total of 47.5 hours and they got 40 hours here, how many hours would have to be here to add up to 47.5?
7.5.
That's right. So here's going to be 7.5 hours. So this one we know is times 7.5 hours. Now we need to find the rate of pay. So it says double time. So I'm going to find the OT wage. So I'm going to take my $24.80 and instead of timesing it by 1.5, this times I times it by 2. And that's going to give me $49.60. So,
24.80.
yeah, that's supposed to be $24.80 right here.
Equals 49.60.
Times 2 is $49.60. Yep. So over here now we get $49.60 is our overtime rate of pay. So the numbers you need to be able to figure out right away is your overtime rate of pay, and that is your overtime wage right there. So that number you need to be able to figure out. Also, the hours, your total hours have to add up to those two. So both of those have to add up to your total hours. If we did the previous question, we would have 8 and 5.5 have to give us our 13.5. Okay? All right, so now we actually are going to do the multiplying, and we're going to get $992 there. And over here, we're going to get $372. And now all we have to do is add them together. And that's going to give us a total of, for that full week, $1,364. That is the grand total. And again, that would be a 2 to 3 mark question. All right, when you've got that written down, please turn your page. Now we're going to fill in a time chart. So this is when you're clocking into work. So if you're a factory worker or somebody that's to punch in their time cards, that's what example 4 is all about. Okay, so example 4, this is a typical time card. So this would be your 1 week time card from Monday to Sunday. So on the left-hand side, you're going to see the morning. On the right-hand side, you're going to see the afternoon. And then on the final column on the right, we're going to add up the total hours. So from 7:30 to 11:30, they're both in the morning. So you could literally take and do 11:30, subtract 7:30. I know I'm coming. I have to rewrite it because it didn't work.
Oh, it's tweaking.
It's tweaking, yeah. 11:30 30. So you could literally subtract those straight up and down. Okay. So if we subtract those, we're going to get a total of 400. So that's 4 hours. So you worked 4 hours there. What you see here on Tuesday, you didn't work at all. So 0 hours for Tuesday. Now, if you look at the afternoon, we're going to be going from 12:15 to 3:15. So we can count on our fingers if we want, because they're exact time spots. So 12 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3. So that's 3 hours. We add those together, we get a total of 7 hours. Now we're going to Wednesday. Wednesday, we're going to subtract 11:30, subtract 8 o'clock. That's going to give us 3.5 hours, 3.5. Your hours must be in decimal form. Okay, to calculate money, hours must be in decimal form. Okay, so they have to be in decimal form. So you can't say 3 hours, 30 minutes. You'd have to tell me 3.5 hours. Now, noon to 2:30, that's noon to 1 to 2, that's 2 hours. 0.5 would be the extra. So you would have 2.5 hours. Now we're going to add 2.5 and 3.5. We're going to get a total of 6 hours worked that day. Now we're going to look at Thursday. 7:45 and 11:45. Again, you're going to take the beginning or the ending time and subtract the starting time. And that's going to give us exactly 4 hours. Come on. 4 hours. Then we're going 12:30 to 4:30. That's another 4 hours. Exactly. So we get a total of 8 hours that they worked that day. Friday, 9 to 12 is 3 hours. Another half is 3.5. So 3.5 hours. 1 to 5:30 is 4.5 hours. And that's going to give us a total of 8 hours for that day. Saturday, it's the weekend. He's only working 8:45 to 11:15. So now the decimals, like the numbers on the end, are different. I've got here 15 and here 45. Whoa. Okay, here we go. So Saturday, we're going to go 8:45 to 11:15, 8:45 to 9:45, 10:45, 11:45. We're going to get 2.5 hours.
Wait, what? So Saturday, 2.5?
Yep. 2.5, and then this guy's a 4, and we're going to get 6.5. The next question, 10 to 2:30 is 4.5 hours. And then we're going to go 3 to 6 is going to be 3.5 hours.
I think Saturday is
So that's going to give you 8. Huh? Saturday?
13.5, not 2.5.
11:15 p.m.
Oh, it's wrong. This should be AM. That was a spelling error. Yeah, because that was AM, and then they have a lunch break of an hour and a half, and then they go back to work at 12:45. Yeah, that was a typo there. That should be AM. Okay, good catch there. That should be AM. All right, now we need the total hours. On the total right-hand side there, we're going to get the total hours. We're going to add them all up. When we add them all up, we're going to get a total of 43.5. That number we are going to take to the bottom left, right here, 43.5. So that's 1 week that person worked. So I'm going to label them A, B, C, D, E, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. Okay, now I'm going to put the cheats in. D is B times C. E is A, subtract B. This guy is C times 1.5. This guy is E times F. And this guy is D plus G. All right. So we know we can only work a maximum of 40 hours per week. So we know this guy has to be a 40. Now we're going to subtract them and get our answer here. And that's going to be 3.5 hours overtime that was worked. Now we're going to do the multiplying. So I need to multiply these two to get that answer. And I need to get this guy, I need to go 1420 times 1.5. That's going to be my overtime wage. So my OT wage. So who can find the OT wage for us? That's going to be $21.30. Let's just make that a little more clear. That's glitching a bit. $21.30. All right, now all we've got to do is our multiplying. All right, so 40 times $14.20. That's going to give us $568. Then I go to column G, the second last one, and I get E times F. That's going to give me $74.55. Now I'm adding those two. I'm adding this guy to this guy to get my final answer. So adding the two of them, I'm going to get $642.55. For that 1 week, that would be your paycheck. And this concludes lesson 1.3.